Today brings us to episode 15, where we talk about the Sharpeye Disco. If you want to request a board to be on the show or tell us what your favorite surfboards are, visit shredshow.com. Hello and welcome to Shred Show. I am your host, Chris Grow, and this is the internet's most stoked surfboard show, where we talk about things that matter to you, the Shred Nation. Shout out to Daniel Jones. You are the subscriber video of the day. You uploaded a video of a free dive down to a shipwreck in Grand Cayman, and I'm going to link that video in the info for this video below. Big shout outs and much aloha to Christian Villegas, Brad Stracton, and Jessica M. You all asked for the Sharpeye Disco. If you watched the Rip Curl Pro Puerto Rico this year, you saw Cody Thompson win that contest on a Sharpeye Disco, and I'm going to link up video of that contest where you can see Cody Thompson surfing this board below in the info for this video. I just ordered one of these boards for myself yesterday, and I'm really excited to talk about this board. If this is your first time watching Shred Show, we talk about surfboards. If you like the video, click like. If you really like the video, click favorite. And if you like the video enough to say hello, do so in the comments below or on Twitter at Chris Grow. Let's talk about this board. We always start by giving our boards a rub, and since Ryan in Virginia Beach asked for it, we're going to tell you the measurements of the Disco: 5'10" by 19.5 by 2.55, and that leads us to a discussion on length. This surfboard you would probably surf about 4 to 6 inches shorter than a standard shortboard, and that scares a lot of surfers. You see, a lot of times a surfer that's beginner or intermediate, or a surfer that weighs a little bit more than most people, will look at a surfboard like this and they'll be scared to go shorter because of the amount of float that they think they're giving up by having less volume in their shortboard. A lot of surfers make the mistake of ordering a board longer than they're supposed to because they want to get more foam in the board. But here's the problem with that. A lot of shapers design special rocker profiles for the surfboards that they create, and the Disco is an excellent example of that. This continuous rocker creates a sweet spot on this board for our front foot. And ideally, we want our front foot right on the sweet spot that is the apex of this rocker. If you order the Disco longer than you're supposed to, what's going to happen is you're going to create a situation where when you stand on the shortboard, your front foot is going to be too far back to line up with the apex of that rocker, thus negating the whole point of the special rocker profile that Marcio Zuvi put into the Sharpeye Disco. The better solution to the problem of being an intermediate, beginner, or a surfer that is slightly more heavier than most people that are your height is to add volume everywhere in the board, thickness, instead of adding length, because that will allow you to have the float that you need for the type of surfing you want to do, and you'll still be able to take advantage of the rocker profile that was created for the board. Most shortboards that are designed for small waves, they take out a lot of the rocker in the tail, the nose, and the body of the board. And the reason that they do that is because they want to make the board plane better and get pushed by the wave easier. Because we all know that rocker in a surfboard slows the surfboard down. But the Disco is much different than a lot of small wave shortboards because it has a lot of rocker going from nose to tail. What they've done is they've created that rocker so that you can better surf it in the pocket of small waves and get really tight into turns on small waves. Because small waves don't really offer a big pocket or a really wide face. So if we want to surf aggressively on a small wave, we really need this kind of a rocker so that we can really fit it into tight turns. Disco has a lot more rocker than most small wave shortboards, and that's why it's one of the most popular surfboards in Sharpeye's line. Single concave running all the way up to the fins, and it really starts to get aggressive right here as it gets to the fins, and that aggressive single concave goes all the way through the tail of the board. Pretty uncommonly heavy concave for a small wave shortboard, but we can get away with it because of how extreme the rocker is. A lot of times with shortboards, if they have a really extreme rocker, the strategy a lot of shapers use is to give a really heavy single concave throughout the board so that water can travel straighter without being impeded by the curve of the rocker. That helps the board plane because the water is allowed to travel a straight path down the stringer, but the rocker also lets the board fit into the pocket of waves and tight into turns. The Disco has an elliptical outline and it curves pretty gently throughout the board. There's nothing drastic happening back here at the tail. And as we look at the foil of this board, it does carry a pretty good amount of volume out towards the tail and the nose of the board. More volume than you'd see on a standard shortboard. Looking at the rails of this board, definitely more volume than a standard shortboard. Maybe even a little bit boxy of a rail, but with a hard edge back here. This board is a squash tail, and I think the Disco probably works best as a squash tail, but if you do want to surf it on a little bit bigger waves, or focus a little bit more on flow through turns. And if you don't like feeling an end to your rail when you're surfing, you can also get this board as a thumbtail. I think that the Disco could be an excellent call if you surf waves that are like waist, shoulder, maybe head high. Even if they have a little bit of a punch to them, the Disco probably can hold some power in small waves as well because of its extreme rocker outline. Which brings us to our question of the day. Shred Nation, what is your favorite book? Because I just finished this one, Let My People Go Surfing, The Education of a Reluctant Businessman by Yvon Chouinard, founder and owner of Patagonia. It's okay to be eccentric as long as you are rich, otherwise you're just crazy. Words of Yvon Chouinard, page 160. If you've ever surfed the Sharpeye Disco, please tell us about your experience below. If you've ever surfed any similar boards, please tell us about those boards as well. If you like the video, click like, not the thumb, but the button below the video on the left. And we really look forward to seeing you next week on Shred Show.